Greetings, everyone. My name is Zach Hayes, and it's an honor to be speaking to all of you guys. This is Scrap Empire, featuring most recent mixed martial arts news, also featuring boxing news as well. For this upcoming UFC 265, we're going to have a very interesting fight in the Bantamweight division. The respected, reputable Jose Aldo against Pedro Munhoz. Two UFC veterans, both have been in the fight business for an extremely long time. But this UFC 265 is going to determine which of these fighters still has it to compete for the Bantamweight Championship and the Ultimate Fighting Championship. Now, when you look at an extraordinary fighter like Jose Aldo, his kickboxing ability, fascinating, extraordinary, magnificent, and tremendous. He always gives you a masterclass style of fighting and very tactical with his approach. When I saw the fight between him and Chad Mendes, a tough opponent because he's constantly coming at you with different types of angles in order to create the shots that he wants, in order to create the strikes that he's seeking to get. But Jose Aldo, he is very sharp when it comes to just moving around the ring. Very sharp when it comes to moving laterally to throw the kicks and to throw the punches when he's either in the middle of the ring or on the side near the cage. People like Jose Aldo are always going to be a tough challenge because he hits fast, but he's also powerful with his striking as well. Usually when you have fast punchers, such as Santiago Ponzinibbio, they move extremely fast and their strikes are able to hit the opponent. Their styles are effective, but it isn't able to, knock people out. And then you have stiff fighters such as Jan Blachowicz, Francis Ngannou. Right? Yes, they're stiff. They also Chuck Liddell. You can also put Jorge St. Pierre on that list as well. They're stiff fighters in terms of how they move around the ring aesthetically. But each punch is compared to 15 punches that the average fighter who possesses fast striking ability has. Jose Aldo, on the other hand, yes, he's sharp, he's fast, he's quick with the way how he moves, but he's just as powerful compared to a guy who doesn't move as quick as him. All right. When I'm watching a great fight with Jose Aldo and Ricardo Limas, Jose Aldo is able to bring the fight, and he's able to bring his opponent into his world, right? Look at the way how he throws the left hand, like the way how he throws the right hand. It's thrown with purpose. It's thrown with passion. And that's exactly what you need when you're fighting, especially if you're trying to still be a contender in the Ultimate Fighting Championship. People like myself who really study the sport see that you throw with passion and intensity with every strike. You're always going to be a challenge to anyone who you face. It's just like with Ricardo Lima's, that's exactly what Jose Aldo is doing. Just if throwing those strikes, man, throwing the strikes with purpose. When he's throwing those strikes with purpose, he's throwing every strike to get you out of the ring. And once he sees the opportunity to hurt you extremely bad, he's going after it. He isn't going to hesitate. We're going to show you any mercy while he's in the process of doing it. Right? Another skill that Jose Aldo possesses is being able to not succumb to his opponent when he's on the ground. I saw Jose Aldo fight Ricardo Limas, and I've seen him fight Ricardo Limas and Chad Mendes. And yes, there are some points where their opponent tries to get them on the ground so they can obtain an advantage over him. But that's why utilizing the basics, utilizing the foundation in any sport that you practice on a consistent basis is key, right? Because what's going to happen when you meet somebody who hits just as hard as you, if not even harder, or who's mastered the same martial art, not only mastered the same martial art, but knows so many different martial arts that you haven't even, that you don't even have your mental ability, that you don't even have the mental ability to even process the teachings because it's just so complex. And plus, your opponent's been taught this from the time they were a baby. How are you going to be able to adapt and adjust that moment? Now, when I see Pedro Munhoz, all right, yes, we know that he hasn't walked. I mean, his reputation is, he has a noble reputation, but he did lose a fight against Frankie Edgar, I believe. Right? And Frankie Edgar reminds me of Jose Aldo. Not so much of the kicking, but just in terms of regular boxing and striking. He's a fast puncher, and every punch that Frankie Edgar threw against Pedro Munhoz was meant to get him out of there. But it's quick, so of course you don't really pay attention to the impact those short, quick punches have. But every punch counts because it only takes a couple of pounds of thrust to knock somebody out. Pedro Munhoz, he's a phenomenal guy in terms of just power. Right now, Frankie Edgar won that fight because he threw more significant strikes. But I'm just talking about if you pay closely attention to the impact. If you pay closely attention to the impact of the fight, if you pay closely attention to how each punch was thrown, Pedro Munhoz threw each punch with impact as well. He's a very, aesthetically, he moves pretty, not so much slow. He doesn't move as quick as Jose Aldo or Frankie Edgar, but I know he hits just as hard, if not probably 10 times as hard as both of them. He's stiff, but if you observe the impact from the punches that Pedro Munhoz threw against Frankie Edgar, it's unfortunate that he couldn't throw enough to the point to stop him or get him knocked out because he's an extremely powerful puncher, right? His power shots allow him to potentially go the distance. His power shots allow him to potentially hurt you extremely bad. He just needs to learn how to move a bit quicker and learn how to manipulate distance because you could be a powerful puncher all you want. If you can't manipulate distance, if you can't maintain tempo with like certain guys like Max Holloway, Alexander Gustafsson, Jose Aldo, Conor McGregor, Stephen Thompson, Jorge Masvidal, those guys know how to manipulate tempo and control distance, especially Stephen Thompson because he's fought Tyron Woodley, I believe he's fought Kamaru Usman. Plenty of great ground fighters, and for some odd reason, he's always been able to bring them into his own world while he's fighting them, right? And you all know that Stephen Thompson is the best wrestler or the best person when it comes to submitting his opponents, but he literally mastered his fighting style so much that he can use that fighting style, just regular kickboxing, boxing, stand up and adjust and adapt to any given situation they're at. I'm not saying there's a guarantee he'll be able to win, but the man is extremely unique in being able to just use one style and apply it to all different types of martial arts because martial arts is basically a practice of different types of martial arts. UFC 1 has UFC 2 and UFC 3 showed us when they run any weight classes or they run any martial art like class, so it's basically however much you weigh, whatever martial art you practice, you're about to get someone who practice a specific martial art, and it didn't really matter with the weight class, but we're living in a different time right now. So that's what's interesting about the art of pugilism. That's what's interesting about the art of fighting. So many different styles you have to adjust to. Pedro Munhoz, if he wants to win this fight, he definitely needs to learn how to. He needs to learn that skill in terms of manipulating tempo, manipulating distance. Doesn't have it, then I don't really see him like anything big. I don't see Jose Aldo knocking him out as well because Pedro Munhoz isn't, he isn't the best fighter, but I don't really see him as type of just getting knocked out by because he's a pretty good fighter, he just isn't champion. All right, so I believe he's going to win this fight. Jose Aldo, it's a 3-round exhibition. I'd say that he will knock out Pedro Munhoz between the second and third round, right? But it could also go to exhibition it could also go to decision as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if the fight went to decision and he won. I also wouldn't be shocked if Pedro Munhoz gets stopped, but just because he moves slow, it doesn't mean that you can't beat somebody who's quicker than you. But that's why you have to learn how to manipulate tempo and distance because there's plenty of slow fighters who's been able to figure out a way how to win. There's plenty of people who don't really know about other martial arts, but it's been able to apply their martial arts to every situation, to every style. So you can be a quick fighter, you can be a slow fighter, you can be a fast fighter, you can move like a turret. It really doesn't matter what your martial art is. It doesn't really matter about how many miles you're on. It doesn't really matter about how many miles you walk. It doesn't matter if you drive. It's really about which style is going to be the best, the most effective in the long run. And that's what you should always consider about which style is going to be the most effective for me. Not trying to move as fast as that person, not trying to move as slow as that person, not trying to move as fast as the person behind you or next to me. You have to find the style that suits your body. You have to find a style that suits, the way how you think, the way how you feel, way how you smell. That's a style that has to gravitate towards the subconscious human animal archetype that we possess. I just wouldn't be surprised if Jose Aldo won by decision as well. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is my YouTube channel, The Scrap Empire. For any business inquiries, please email me at thescrapempire1@gmail.com. And please, it would be greatly appreciated if any of you guys can like, comment, subscribe to my content. And I'm so honored to be speaking to you guys tonight. I hope that everyone takes care. May you all have an amazing night. Bye bye.